Hello, everyone. I'm here with Daria Lavelle, the author of Aftermath. Take a look at that book.
Aftertaste.
I'm sorry, Aftertaste. Aftertaste, yes. Fantastic book. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about. And uh, Daria, thank you so much for showing up today. It's an honor to have you. And Daria, I have to say, I really enjoyed reading Aftertaste. Thank you so much for sending me the
Of
copy.
course, thank you for
The
having
way
me.
you blend food, ghosts, memories is like anything I have ever read before. And I think everybody who does pick up this book and read it's going to say the same thing. So tell me, well, let me first finish here. And there was one particular chapter that I must talk about very quickly, the champagne problems. That really touched me, and it actually brought a tear to my eye, and I'm gonna explain to everyone what that was about. In one of the scenes here in this book, a man who has been sober for 305 days, I believe is probably fed up with his life and ready to end it because he lost his wife. He's lonely, and he visits this bar to break his sobriety, basically, and he runs into Costa, right? That's
Kostya.
the name of your Kostya,
Mhm.
yeah, that's the name of your character, and he wants a drink. So Kostya tells him, "Listen, hey, I'm not a bartender, but I'm here, I'm closing up, I'm cleaning," and he demands a drink, and, Kostya says, "Okay, okay." But suddenly Kostya starts feeling something in his throat because that's how the aftertastes come to him,
Mhm.
and he doesn't know what it is, but the spirit speaks to him through
Mhm.
taste, and, he produces this drink for this gentleman, who actually looks like, Steve Tyler, uh, with a big old mouth, and Lord and behold, his wife ends up showing up as a ghost. And continue now, Daria, about speaking about aftertaste. If you want to just say a little bit before I start asking you all the questions.
Yeah. So what winds up happening in that scene is Constantine, Kostya, his food and the preparation of that food manages to resurrect a spirit from the afterlife for one last meal with her husband. And that's sort of the crux of the magic that's at the core of this book. So what it is a ghost story, a love story, and a food story. It's about this man named Constantine who loses his father at a really young age and shortly thereafter begins to experience these unexplainable flavors from the afterlife in his mouth. And for a long time, he's too afraid to engage with them. He's too afraid to see what it's all about. Um, and he kind of puts them to the side, but he knows that every one of these flavors that he experiences constantly is coming from a spirit trying to contact him in some way. And so the scene that you just described in the bar called the Library of Spirits, that is the very first time that he decides to act on what he's been tasting. And he discovers this ability not only to taste the dead, but to actually bring them back for a reunion with the people they loved. And this sends him on a journey to open a New York City restaurant serving closure. So it's very much a foodie book. If you love New York City, if you love restaurants, if you love eating, food, kitchen competitions, throwdown, chopped, recipes, all that stuff, this is definitely a book for you. So he starts this journey to open a New York City restaurant, which is its own kind of level of hell. And he falls in love along the way with a woman who has her own kind of secret connection to the afterlife. And all of
Oh, and the
this sort
problem
of
she has. I mean,
so many problems, high drama. But so all through all of this kind of interaction with
yes,
the dead and
yes.
trying to reunite people, Constantine inadvertently causes some havoc in the afterlife that he has to contend with.
Absolutely. Dara, how did you come up with the concept for this novel?
So this novel came to me sort of as one scene. I'm a very visual writer and I see scenes in my head almost like a movie playing in front of me. And I had this little vision of this man in a Hell's Kitchen apartment plating very meticulously a dish of food. He is not a chef. He doesn't look like a chef, but he sets it on the table, and this beautiful glittering ghost passes through the wall to try and eat this food. And that was the whole scene. I had all of these questions as a result, like, who is this guy? How is his food making this connection? Who is the spirit? Can they always make this connection? Is it just this particular food? And in trying to kind of answer those questions and unpack all of that, I came up with the premise of Aftertaste, this chef whose food can bring spirits back from the dead. And food is always something that's been very formative in my life. It's something that is very meaningful to my family. We grew up always cooking, eating together, trying different cuisines. Um, and I'm always a speculative writer, so I always like to write about things that are just a little bit impossible, a little bit fantastic. And so when I came up with this idea to pair ghosts and food, it just felt very natural because they're both so inextricably tied to memory. You know, when you eat a certain food, it almost transports you through memory to a time and a place where you had it the first time, or you ate it with somebody who made it for you, it had a meaningful
Mhm.
experience with it. And a ghost is kind of the same thing. A ghost is a memory that won't let go. So it made sense to sort of have those ideas interact through this book.
And pick the New York culinary scene.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously, because New York is a big apple, New York has, obvious abundance of restaurants. Is that the reason why you picked that place to celebrate the New York scene?
I think there are a couple of reasons. And first and foremost, I am local to the tri-state area. New York City has always
Okay.
been my city to go out in. I was
Okay.
fortunate enough to live in New York City for a while. And I think that the way that you can eat in New York City is so intricate and so interesting, and it's so particular to Manhattan. Like, you can have an amazing meal at a bodega on the corner and then have an amazing
Right.
meal at a Michelin star restaurant in the same day. There's always fusions and different kinds of cuisines. You can eat your way around the world without leaving this one relatively small island. And it's really extraordinary the level of culinary talent that comes to learn to cook and to sort of make their way through the restaurant culture in New York City. So I loved getting to capture a little bit of that. And similarly, I think New York is the
Yeah.
kind of place where anything can happen. It's open to anything. And so a lot of the
Yeah.
scenes that happen in
True.
Aftertaste are these like outlandish, kind of fantasy sort of settings, but they're all based on actual places that I have been in New York, which is
Oh,
part of the
okay.
magic of New York City.
That's one of the questions I was gonna ask you. So, I mean, because, a lot of the recipes in Aftertaste aren't simple dishes,
Mhm.
Daria. They're very sophisticated. They're chef level creations. How did you come up with them? Did you end up going to culinary school just to learn how to make these type of dishes? Because I'm very impressed with these dishes.
Thank you. I wish I'd gone to culinary school. No, I myself have not gone to culinary school, but I will say that since I was a child, I've been obsessed with reading recipes, watching cooking shows,
Okay.
kind of exploring cookbooks cover to cover from different cuisines, eating as much as I can from different cuisines. So I'm very, very conscious when I eat of what I'm tasting, what are the flavor profiles, how do you evaluate that? I read restaurant reviews for fun. I am definitely a foodie in every way, so I think
Oh my god.
all of that comes through.
Yeah.
And the actual
Who reads restaurant reviews as a hobby?
they're fun, they're
You
very
do.
dramatic. I do. And you should too.
Yes!
Um
Too dramatic for me. Too dramatic for me when they're coming down on a restaurant or a chef or a person, I'm like, "Oh, no, that's
It's
not
all
nice."
it's also
But I
emotionally
understand.
fueled. Yeah, it's all because food is so connective, food is so personal, it's universal, but it's also
Yeah,
so deeply personal, and so when a chef is putting out their menu and putting out, their heart and their soul, the food that speaks to them out for other people to experience, it's so personal. But
yeah.
to the question of where the recipes came from, every single recipe in the book that is directly tied to one of the spirits coming back is
Mhm.
actually something that I kind of reverse engineered, not based on food, but actually based on the relationships between the characters. So every one of those aftertastes is based on a meal that was important and significant and really meaningful in the lives of two people that now are going to use that meal to reunite. And so I had to think
Right.
really hard about not only what food would it be that would bring these people together, but what are the flavor profiles that can tie to different emotions? Is it a salty memory that they have of each other? Are they kind of bitter in it? Are they sour? Are they sweet? And how do you work that into the experience of eating that food so that the food can kind of become a way to time travel for the reader as the characters are experiencing it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And one of the other things I like that is deeply leveled and it's layered is the grief, it's the
Mm.
memory, it's the afterlife. Did you study different spiritual traditions or beliefs about ghosts or afterlife while you were writing this type of novel?
Yeah, so I've always been obsessed with the idea of afterlives. Even as a kid, I loved Greek mythology. I loved any kind of story that had to do with like Hades and Persephone, a journey to an afterlife, kind of Dante's Inferno stuff, Orpheus and Eurydice, all of those kinds of stories. And when I started to think about this book, I knew that I wanted to incorporate lots of those different traditions, and I started to research not just the idea of death and the afterlife around the world, but the way that food
Right.
connects to it. There are so many traditions around the world where food is directly tied to kind of having a spiritual connection. So you've got,
Hmm.
kind of the Dia de los Muertos in Mexico, you've got the ghost festivals in Asia, you've got even Halloween in the United States. All of that is
Yes.
goes back and is tied to these
Right.
traditions of food and spirits kind of
Right.
using one another to cross over.
Yeah, well, Dia de los Muertos, I
Mhm.
mean, that's celebrated, all over, South America,
Mhm.
Latin America, and that's all spiritual, beliefs.
Absolutely.
Do yeah, and I'm assuming you personally believe in afterlife.
I do. I mean, it gives me comfort to think that there's something more, that we're not just
Right,
done and
right,
the
right,
end,
right.
cutscene.
I mean, because in this book, you have all the people who passed away just waiting there, not only just to be released to move on to the next life, and but also waiting to see their loved ones again.
Mhm.
And that's what's so fascinating about this book is the way you bring those two type of lives together, the afterlife and the life we have now. Um, and I just think it's very impressive the way you did that. I haven't read anything like this ever before,
Oh, thank
and
you.
nobody will. I mean, this is just such an original book. Everyone should grab a copy. Would you consider yourself a spiritual person yourself, though?
I am. I would say that I have a tendency to feel things around me. I have a way of kind of feeling the people that I've lost, for example, in different moments in my life and kind of knowing that they're there and feeling a spiritual connection. I'm a very intuitive person. Even the way I write is intuitive. I don't use an outline. I kind of follow the way that the characters guide me, the way the story
Mhm.
guides me, and I kind of think I approach life that way. Um, I see meaning in things. I find connections. And yeah, I believe that there's more that we haven't discovered yet, and that, I certainly believe in science and I believe in scientific theory and things that are
Right,
proven,
right.
but I also
Yeah.
believe that there are things that, our science isn't able to prove yet. We don't have the
Right,
tools
right.
yet.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I believe in the afterlife. I'm very spiritual. I'm intuitive too. I understand what you're talking about. You do feel things around you, the energy.
Mhm.
You have it's called women's
Yeah.
intuition or your gut. People say it's your gut intuition, but I feel that I'm a religious person. I do believe in afterlife. I do believe in moving on to another life and then coming back and repeating your life
Mhm.
and correcting the mistakes you did in your past life and doing your life over and over till you get it right.
Mm.
Uh, so I do believe in that also. You were born in Kiev,
Mhm. Yeah,
Ukraine,
I was.
and when did your family move to America?
We moved in 1990, so I was about 2 years old, when we
Okay.
made that move, and we settled in the tri-state area, kind of in the New York
Mhm.
City area specifically, and so that experience was really formative to me, and it was also incredibly formative to this book. The main character, like me, is Ukrainian. He's also an immigrant,
Oh yeah.
um, and so a lot of
Believe me, there's some names in here that I cannot
but
I cannot
a
pronounce.
lot of my experience kind of coming to this country and wanting to assimilate and trying to be American enough and kind of straddling the line between, your homeland and where you are now and where you want to be, finding that belonging, all of that, all of those emotions and feelings are directly something that influenced Constantine's character and his journey.
Oh,
Mhm.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I'm pretty sure that when you wrote this, you were thinking of your homeland, again, because of the characters, because of the names, because of, the people that you're speaking about and the characters. How do obviously Ukrainian and your heritage is important to you. How do you feel of what's going on right now to your homeland?
I think it's awful. It's deeply, deeply saddening.
It's
It's
very
it's
saddening.
so hard to see, we still have family there, we have friends there.
You do.
It's terrible to see what's become the quote unquote normal for them, like the things that they've gotten used to, the experiences they have. It's harrowing. It's living every day with uncertainty and fear and just being unsettled, but also knowing, you have to live life. And so I think part of that resilience and that indomitable spirit, especially that I saw in Ukrainians on the ground in the early days of this war, which is when I was still writing this book, it
Oh,
really changed my relationship to Constantine. Because at first, I was writing this book, kind of thinking of him as an extension of me, like, let me tell my immigrant story, let me tell my story of growing up eating the different food and kind of feeling ostracized for that sometimes and having that connection with him. And then once the war happened and I saw, ordinary Ukrainians rising up in the face of terrible circumstances and sort of like these unthinkable, insurmountable events, I wanted to capture that strength and that resilience and that
mhm,
feeling that they wanted to
mhm.
stand up for other people and put themselves in a position to protect others, even people they didn't know. And so a lot of the ending of the book, without giving any spoilers away, but a lot of
Right,
the ending of
right.
the book is informed by Constantine making choices that are consistent with that. He wants to sort of put others before himself and do anything to save the people that he loves.
Yeah. And I wanna bring a tear because, it he does end up, um, giving up his life for, the good of the people,
Yeah,
the good of the people that, he was trying to help and beyond,
yeah.
and other people that, he's never met, but he knows that, he opened up this can of worms,
Mhm.
not intentional, because he was trying to do,
The right
obviously,
thing,
good.
yeah.
The right thing, because the way he was raised, and he always had this guilt about him,
Mhm.
with his father. He had this guilt, embedded in him and about his mother too. I mean, I thought his mother was horrible, horrible,
Yeah, I think it's funny.
horrible.
It's funny. She was horrible in some ways, but I think there's
Yes,
there's that moment where there's a reconciliation between them, and we start to
yes,
understand
yes,
why she's been horrible, and I tried
yeah,
really hard in this book to think about not just grief as an amorphous concept, but, like, truly how does grief worm its way into people, and how does it change their behaviors, and how does it affect them? And so once we have that scene between them towards the end of the book, we start to understand that everything she's done out of this, like, deep grief and fear and this way that it overtook her life.
yeah, Daria, but not spending his whole money from food stamps to
That's
buy
true, to buy cigarettes.
cigarettes.
Yeah, she made some very bad choices.
When I read that, I'm like, "Oh my god, this poor person." You'd think that he would have become a mass shooter, I'm telling you,
No.
the way he was raised and the way he rose above it, and the person he became, a good person, and this is just a fascinating book to read. What do you hope the readers take away from Aftertaste, besides me mentioning all those
I mean, my hope is that readers will read this book and walk away with something they can take with them. So I hope that it's not a book that they read and then, like, a week later forget about. I hope that it stays with them, and I hope that, as they experience meals in their life, that they think about food a little bit differently, that it's not just, eating to live or living to eat. It's food being
right.
this meaningful connection, food being a way to honor people that you've lost, food being a way to connect to your ancestors, to your heritage, to your culture, to generations that have come before you. I hope that they'll think about trying to make maybe old family recipes that nobody's attempted in a while, and I hope that
Right, yeah.
as they make new recipes with their children or their families or their loved ones, that they'll think really deeply about the food that they're sharing and try to make something they can pass on.
Absolutely, and this is something that obviously you're gonna pass on to your children. When do you think your children will be old enough to read this type of book?
Um, I mean, my kids are very little. I think that I'm not a person who's ever gonna dictate what you can and cannot read, so I think when they tell me they're ready and they're old enough and they have the vocabulary to read the book, then I will be happy to let them read
Yeah,
it. But I think
yeah.
it's been really special having this experience and having them see what it's been like because this is a dream that I've had my entire life to publish a book. I've been a writer for many, many years, and this is my first
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
big book, and so they've
Yeah.
been so excited to see them be proud of me. That's been the biggest gift of all this experience.
Yeah. Now, is there a way that people can get a hold of this book besides going to the bookstore? Could they order it on Amazon?
It's on Amazon, it's on bookshop.org, it's on
Okay.
barnesandnoble.com, it's anywhere that you buy books, it's there. I'll also give a
Okay.
quick plug if you like audiobooks, the audiobook version of this book is excellent. The narrators are incredible. There's actually 4 different narrators, and they did an amazing job, so it's
They did, because
yeah.
that's how I was getting through this book. Not only was I reading it at home, but, when I was out in the field and I had to be in my vehicle for more than, 30 minutes to 2 hours, I would definitely plug in and read and listen to it also.
Mhm.
So they did a fantastic job, with this book. And, what are you working on right now? Is there anything that, we can look for in the future?
Yeah, I'm working on a second book. It's very different from Aftertaste. It is more historical fiction, but with a magic spin to it. It takes,
Of
of
course.
course, it takes place in San Francisco during the
Okay.
Gilded Age Gold Rush era, and it is about a woman who falls in love with a sailor on an enchanted ship.
Oh, well, that sounds fantastic. I can't wait to hear that. And please come on again when you finish that book. I can't wait for you to work on that. When do you find the time to write, Dara, since you have 2 small
I have
children?
3. I have 3 small children.
Oh, 3,
Yeah.
okay.
Um,
Wow, that's
I
fantastic.
write when they're in school, and honestly, I write late at night when they're asleep.
Yeah,
And when I have
yeah,
help with them, when I have, like, somebody kind of able to watch them, either a babysitter or a family member,
right,
that's when I sneak away and write.
yeah. What kind of response have you gotten to this book
It
from this book?
it's been so incredible, honestly, I feel so lucky
Okay.
to have been able to have this book launch the way that it did, especially for a first-time author. I get, people weekly reaching out to me that I don't know, just sending me a note saying how much they enjoyed the book, the way it moved them, people that they've lost that it reminds them of. It's gotten such a great reception. I was able to do a multi-country tour for it, so I got to go to the
Oh,
UK, to London, and then I got to do travel all over the US to launch it, which has been really exciting, and I'm going back out there in the fall for festival season, so hopefully I'll get to meet some readers too that way.
well, that's fantastic. I'm so honored that you had the time to spend with me. And thank you, Dara, for coming on Ride to Independence. Again, the book is Aftertaste, and I recommend it to everyone. It's a fascinating book, and it's amazing. It's an amazing read. Have your dictionary out because you will need look up some words because the writing is very impressive.
Oh,
And well, Daria, thank you so much for coming to Ride to
thank
Independence.
you so much for having me, it was a lot of fun.
You're Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.